The Middle East has long been one of the most volatile regions in the world, shaped by deep historical rivalries, political conflicts, ideological divides, and global power struggles. In recent years, tensions between Iran and Israel have escalated dramatically, raising serious concerns among analysts, governments, and citizens across the globe. From proxy wars and covert operations to cyber attacks and military confrontations, the relationship between these two regional powers has become increasingly hostile. Many observers now ask a critical question: is the Middle East on the brink of a major war between Iran and Israel? Today we will talk about Iran versus Israel. Is the Middle East on the brink of war? So, before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. The historical roots of Iran-Israel hostility. The hostility between Iran and Israel did not always exist. Before the Iranian Revolution of 1979, Iran and Israel actually maintained diplomatic and strategic relations. Under the rule of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran recognized Israel and maintained economic, military, and intelligence cooperation with it. However, everything changed after the Islamic Revolution when Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini came to power. The new Iranian leadership adopted a strong anti-Israel stance, viewing Israel as an illegitimate state and a Western-backed presence in the Middle East. Iran's government began referring to Israel as the Zionist regime and openly called for its elimination. Since then, the ideological conflict between the Islamic Republic of Iran and the State of Israel has shaped regional geopolitics for decades. Israel, on the other hand, sees Iran as its most dangerous adversary in the region. Israeli leaders believe Iran's revolutionary ideology, support for militant groups, and nuclear ambitions represent an existential threat to the country. Iran's regional strategy and influence. Iran has built a powerful network of allies and proxy forces across the Middle East over the past 4 decades. This strategy is often referred to as the axis of resistance, which includes several groups and governments that oppose Israel and Western influence in the region. These groups include Hezbollah in Lebanon, various militias in Iraq, the Syrian government under Bashar al-Assad, and Houthi forces in Yemen. Through financial support, military training, and weapons transfers, Iran has significantly expanded its influence beyond its borders. Hezbollah, in particular, represents one of Iran's most powerful allies. Based in Lebanon, the group possesses a vast arsenal of rockets and missiles capable of striking deep into Israeli territory. Many analysts believe Hezbollah acts as Iran's primary deterrent against direct Israeli military action. This network of proxy forces allows Iran to challenge Israel without engaging in full-scale direct war. However, it also increases the risk that any local conflict could quickly escalate into a wider regional confrontation. Israel's security concerns. For Israel, national security is a constant and pressing concern. The country is geographically small and surrounded by multiple actors that have historically been hostile toward it. As a result, Israeli defense strategy focuses heavily on preemptive action and maintaining overwhelming military superiority. Iran's growing influence across the region, particularly in Syria and Lebanon, has alarmed Israeli leaders. Israel fears that Iran is attempting to establish military bases and missile infrastructure close to Israeli borders. In response, Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes against Iranian targets in Syria over the past decade. Israeli intelligence agencies also closely monitor Iran's weapons development and missile programs. Israel believes that allowing Iran to gain stronger military capabilities could threaten its survival. Consequently, Israeli officials have repeatedly stated that they will take whatever measures are necessary to prevent Iran from becoming too powerful. The nuclear question. One of the most significant issues fueling tensions between Iran and Israel is Iran's nuclear program. Iran insists that its nuclear activities are for peaceful purposes, such as energy production and scientific research. However, Israel and several Western countries suspect that Iran may be secretly pursuing nuclear weapons. Israel views the possibility of a nuclear-armed Iran as unacceptable. Israeli leaders argue that if Iran obtains nuclear weapons, it could destabilize the entire Middle East and potentially threaten Israel's existence. The 2015 nuclear agreement, formerly known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, attempted to limit Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. While the deal initially reduced tensions, its collapse after the United States withdrew from the agreement in 2018 led to renewed uncertainty. Since then, Iran has expanded aspects of its nuclear program, leading to increased alarm in Israel. Israeli officials have repeatedly warned that they are prepared to conduct military strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities if diplomacy fails. Shadow war, cyber attacks, and covert operations. Although Iran and Israel have not fought a full-scale war directly, they have been engaged in what many experts call a shadow war. This conflict involves covert operations, cyber attacks, sabotage, and targeted assassinations. Cyber warfare has become a key battleground between the two nations. Both countries possess advanced cyber capabilities and have reportedly targeted each other's infrastructure, financial systems, and government networks. There have also been numerous mysterious incidents involving explosions at Iranian military and nuclear facilities. Many analysts suspect Israeli intelligence operations are behind these events. Similarly, Iran has been accused of launching attacks against Israeli-linked ships and targets abroad. This shadow conflict allows both sides to weaken each other without triggering an immediate large-scale war. However, it also creates constant tension and increases the possibility of miscalculation. Proxy conflicts across the Middle East. The rivalry between Iran and Israel plays out across several countries in the Middle East. Syria has been one of the most significant battlegrounds. During the Syrian civil war, Iran deployed military advisors and allied militias to support the Syrian government. Israel, concerned about Iran establishing a permanent military presence there, has conducted frequent airstrikes on Iranian positions. Lebanon is another key front. Hezbollah's large missile arsenal is viewed by Israel as one of the biggest threats to its national security. If a war were to break out between Israel and Hezbollah, Iran would almost certainly play a major role in supporting the group. Even countries like Iraq and Yemen have become arenas for indirect confrontation. Iranian-backed militias and allied groups have occasionally targeted Israeli or Western interests, further fueling regional instability. The role of the United States. The United States plays a critical role in the Iran-Israel dynamic. Israel is one of America's closest allies, receiving significant military aid and diplomatic support from Washington. The United States has repeatedly reaffirmed its commitment to Israel's security. At the same time, the relationship between the United States and Iran has been extremely tense since the Iranian Revolution. Economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, and military standoffs have characterized the relationship for decades. Any direct war between Iran and Israel would almost certainly involve the United States in some capacity. This possibility raises the stakes of the conflict dramatically, as it could turn a regional confrontation into a broader international crisis. The risk of a wider regional war. Many analysts worry that even a small incident could trigger a much larger conflict. A missile strike, a miscalculated military response, or a major attack by a proxy group could escalate rapidly beyond control. If a full-scale war were to erupt between Iran and Israel, it would likely involve multiple countries and armed groups across the region. Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, forces in Syria, and potentially other actors could all become involved. Such a war could disrupt global energy markets, threaten international shipping routes, and create a humanitarian crisis affecting millions of people. The consequences would likely extend far beyond the Middle East. Diplomatic efforts and possibilities for de-escalation. Despite the intense hostility, diplomatic efforts continue behind the scenes to prevent a major war. International organizations, global powers, and regional governments frequently attempt to mediate tensions and encourage dialogue. Some Middle Eastern countries have recently sought to reduce tensions with Iran, hoping to stabilize the region. At the same time, diplomatic initiatives aimed at reviving nuclear negotiations could potentially reduce one of the most dangerous aspects of the conflict. However, deep mistrust between Iran and Israel remains a major obstacle to lasting peace. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.